Wednesday, April 24th, 2024. Are there any commissioners absent tonight? Great. Attending virtually is Jim Franklin. Is that all?
Yep.
Thank you. I'm going to now open the meeting and take a roll call. Kalina Vandetti, that's me. I'm here. Jim Franklin?
Here.
Thank you, Jim. Dot?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Buzz?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Here.
And Brian?
Yes.
That's us. Thank you. Please note that we're doing a hybrid meeting with in-person and virtual attendance. If a member of the virtual public would like to make comments during a public hearing, please use the raise hand function on Zoom, and you'll be assigned a speaking time. And if you're listening in via telephone dial-in, please press *9 to raise your hand, and then press *6 to unmute yourself. This meeting is being recorded by the local scene, and we thank them very much for their service. And a record of this meeting will be posted on the local scene website as soon as they're able. Anyone intending to make an audio or video recording of this meeting should notify me at this time. No one? Great. First matter of business is the signing of documents. Matt?
We have an invoice for Beals and Thomas for the Sampsons Brook Headwaters Restoration Project for $3,200. We have an $800 invoice from Forestry Suppliers for trail maintenance supplies, and a $7 invoice from We Print Today for laminated signage.
All right, thank you.
So that, like at the last meeting, is just you sign the front page, but if you want to look at any details, if you didn't have a chance to look at the OneDrive, the rest of the invoices are behind there after all those wonderful Unis output sheets.
I'm so sorry, I always look. Thank you. Ready to move on to action items?
Sure.
I will now open a public meeting to discuss the request for determination of applicability, which we call RDA, for 8 Braintree Avenue. This is for the proposed removal and replacement of the existing asphalt driveway with a pervious material, and to create a garden area within the 100-foot buffer zone to several coastal wetland resource areas. Do you have any comments, Matt?
Do you want to get a presentation?
Yeah, if there's a representative here and wants to do a presentation, we're ready to hear that. Just come on up to the podium, make sure you identify yourself for the record, name and address.
Good evening, my name
We could just hold 1 second. You wanted to show us something. Is that something we have already?
I think it's everything. Yeah, if it's the same thing that you submitted, everything, it's all what
We're
was on the
good then.
OneDrive.
Okay, thank you.
So good evening, my name is Walter Foster. I live at 8 Braintree Ave with my wife, Robin Brown.
And I am Emily Leakey, and I own Gardenia Landscape Design, and I'm working with Wally and Foster.
I mean, Wally and Robin on their project.
Okay, thank you.
So go ahead.
Okay,
Yeah,
so,
she knows more about this.
Okay.
so when I first met Wally and Robin, we were talking about ways to increase some like vegetable garden areas in their front yard, which they currently have, but talking about rearranging things and increasing some parking spaces. And after some back and forth meetings, we talked about removing their existing asphalt driveway, which also includes an asphalt walkway up to the front door, and replacing it with a crushed stone U-shaped driveway that would have vegetable gardening and mostly native planting in the middle and along the right side of their property line, and a very small area on the left side for permanent planting, and then more vegetable gardening space. So there's the design there.
Just make the rest of this go away. So this is page 1, I believe. There were 2 pages, I think, to your,
That's page 1. The second page is just a zoom in on the foundation planting,
okay.
but
Do
that
you
shows,
have a copy of that?
if not, I have lots of copies.
Yeah, I have the foundation planting. There you go.
There we go.
Yes. So in general, most of the plant material being suggested for the permanent planting are native plants to Massachusetts and specifically coastal native plants. Some of them are not, some of the perennials are not, and the holly is not. But other than that, everything else is, and the spirea. Everything else is.
There's also, I believe it's required, the 10-foot buffer between property lines.
Okay, do you have any comments on that, Matt?
Yeah, relatively easy. So most of this is within the 100-foot buffer of the coastal bank, and I believe all of it is within the 100-foot buffer of land subject to coastal storm flowage. But from everything that I could tell, it's within existing developed lawn and garden area, removing impervious surface, replacing with pervious surface and plantings, most of which are native. I'm not going to scrutinize a native planting plan to the same level we would mitigation, restoration, things like that. So it all looks sufficient, and I think there's no tree removal, anything like that. It's just basically removing pavement and existing plants and lawn and replacing with pervious surface and appropriate plantings. So I think it's a pretty easy DOA to issue unless the commission has questions.
Do we have any questions from the commission, comments?
No, I'd just like to thank you for doing things ahead of time rather than just showing up and ripping off the driveway. So thank you very much. And
It's really close to planting season.
listen, I'm ready to move this thing, so.
Before we do that, are there any comments from the members of the public present? Or the public present online?
As a neighbor and a resident of Rangeley
Yes.
Avenue, I'd be fully in support of this.
Thank you.
You just want to identify yourself for the record.
Sure, Don McCauley,
Come on up to the podium just to get yourself on the record. Thank you so much.
Don McCauley, 2 Braintree Avenue in Kingston. And like
Okay.
I said, I would be totally in support of this plan.
Okay,
Yep.
great. No other comments from the public present here or online? Okay.
And I'd like a motion to
Negative
issue a
3.
-3 DOA with the agent's condition that, special conditions that the minimum aggregate size of the driveway should be no smaller than 3/8 of an inch to maintain the pervious condition, and add language to prohibit the use of pesticides, herbicides, and fungicides on the driveway. I'm assuming you're gonna need some of that for the plantings, to ensure the fertilizers are organic and slow release.
Second.
Okay. I'm going to take a voice vote on that. Dot?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Kalina's a yes. Buzz?
Yes,
Marilyn?
Yes.
And Brian?
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you for
you.
your
Thank you for
courtesy.
your
Thank
time.
you all.
Thanks.
Pray for sunshine.
That's all we can do. I'm going to now reopen a public meeting. This is to discuss the extension request for the 20 Marion Drive, 1 Royston Drive. Matt, do you have any comments on that?
We're going to continue that one. Still waiting on materials.
Okay,
So
super.
they're going to meet with me Monday or Tuesday to show me what they came up with. I'm sorry, I said we're waiting on materials. They just submitted them, I think, yesterday. So they're going to meet with me Monday or Tuesday to go over thoughts, and then we'll see them on May 8th.
All right.
and when is their order expire, the current order?
17th,
Say again?
May 17th.
Okay.
We can move on to enforcement. We've got 28 Rayboth Drive, Rayboth Road.
Rabbith?
Rabbit.
Rabbith?
Rab-
I don't know if anybody actually knows.
I
I
moved
call it
into this
Rabbith.
town, just saying.
I don't know either. I was always wondering how.
Lapping, whopping, whatever it is. You have, Matt, you have somebody in the waiting room. I don't know who,
Thanks.
All right. You want to talk to us, Matt, or do you want to hear from that?
So I think we continued this from the last meeting. This was a situation where when I was doing a site visit at a neighboring property, I noticed some erosion off of what looked like a renovated lawn going down towards Smelt Brook. And then through checking aerials, it was more like a lawn expansion that was unpermitted that was causing erosion very close to Smelt Brook, if not into it. So we sent a notice of violation, and then the homeowner reached out to Steinbeck and Taylor.
Steinbeck and Taylor, yes, sir.
And they got in touch with me before the last meeting, just saying they were putting a plan together and they want to continue to tonight. So we haven't seen the plan. He can go through it now and let us know what's going on.
All right, you want to make a presentation?
Surely. My name is Brian Taylor from Steinbeck and Taylor in Marshfield. We were contacted by our client not too long after Matt had sent a notice to the client. They're in Florida for the winter, so it took a little bit of time for it to get to us.
Can you speak up a little bit, please?
Oh, yes, sir. Sorry, sir. So, as I had spoken to Matt in advance of the originally scheduled April 10th meeting, we wanted to get all the existing conditions off of the ground, find out exactly what transpired, and put together some immediate erosion control. In Matt's initial memo, he had suggested that we have siltation, a silt sock placed at the top of the slope, proximate to the resource area to protect it, which we had done within the next week or so. So there's a stake silt sock that's shown on the plan that we're provided. The topographical in detail is shown on the plan. After speaking with the client, he had briefed me that there had been quite a bit of tree damage as it started with the tropical storm Henri had topped a bunch of trees. I also prepared a bunch of photographs that I submitted. You have 2 copies of them there, and if you look through, you'll see that there are a bunch of treetops that are still there in the resource area and elsewhere in the woods. So the client had gone ahead and removed some of the trees with the damage, and they had some widowmakers hanging. I engaged my arborist, Dave Harrington, who's a registered Massachusetts arborist, and I explained to him what was passed on to me, that a lot of the trees were coppiced. They were pine trees, and they're basically pasture pines, and when you see that coppice, which is multiple leaders, and a bunch of the leaders die off, he informed me that that's because of a beetle, a particular type of beetle, which destroys the tree. So at any rate, the tree removal was done. We had counseled the client to immediately get the silt sock in place. In addition to that, he had already seeded the whole slope. But with all the rain that we've been having, there were rivulets throughout. So we went ahead and had a landscaper did a fantastic job. We wanted him to go in and fill all those rivulets, grade everything off nice and even, seed it first, then apply jute. We've been using jute a lot in commercial projects. With all the rain that we've had last year and this year, it's really the only way to hold a slope for any period. Otherwise, we're just constantly redoing slopes. So the jute is biodegradable. It's put down with ferrous material staples, and it holds the slope no matter what the weather condition. The client had put at the top of the driveway, the existing house and driveway is at the top of the slope, as you can see by the topography, and the client had already put a riprap swale at the end of the driveway to disperse any runoff and help aid in erosion control. So that jute erosion control netting is shown with a heavy orange line or red line, and we juted about 11,800 square feet on the slope. Everything that's shown in the crosshatched has been hydroseeded. So the landscaper first hand seeded with a spreader, then put the jute down, then hydroseeded on top of it. So it's a pretty thorough job. The existing travel way is where it's always been, at the bottom of the hill, going to house number 20. And we have tried to represent, we had Brad Holmes do all the resource area delineation, and we've tried to represent all of those on the plan. I didn't, Matt, do all the 25-foot, 50-foot, 75, it would just be so busy you wouldn't be able to read the plan. So we did show the 100-foot wetland buffer. We showed all of the on-site resource areas and nearby proximal resources. We showed the Zone A, the edge of Smelt Pond, of course, the location of Smelt Brook, the top of bank, the BVW, so like the inner riparian and outer riparian. So we tried to get it all, but if you see anything, we're certainly receptive to adding anything else you'd like me to add. So right now, everything's growing, thank God. We didn't get as much as rain as we were finally praying for rain today, and we didn't really get it. I don't know if you guys did down here. We didn't in Marshfield. But they're going to be applying sprinklers to get everything growing. And it's growing. You can see it growing right through the jute right now.
Just, I guess, wondering on the plan, what was the closest distance between the bank of Smelt Brook and where the disturbance was?
Pretty much where the silt sock is shown. Most of that was an existing limited clearing that you can kind of see in aerial photography. So probably 8 or 9 feet, roughly. The brook is well-defined. It doesn't have like a real wide top of bank area. It's well-defined. It drops down. It's a very sandy bottom, just like the pond is. And it's unobstructed. I did clean out, there's a culvert that goes underneath the Raybeth Road, and I cleaned that out with my shovel just to keep it all flowing well. But there doesn't appear to be anything that eroded into Smelt Brook that's still in place.
So, and again, I haven't reviewed any of this, but is there a plan in place for restoration at all, or?
I kind of wanted to feel you guys out. I'm not, not sure how I'm going to do it. We have landscape architect, I have an arborist, but I didn't want to speak for you, and
Yeah, I guess I could run through, because we didn't do any of this at the last meeting, so I can just sort of run through the visuals for the commission on what we have. So up on the screen, you can see January 2021 on the left, and then October 2021 on the right. So this is the the area of new clearing that goes right up to the brook. Let's see if I can get this to move. This is the view across from the adjacent driveway across Smelt Brook to the house. You can see all the sediment at the bottom, and all of, I don't know how much of that slope area was added, I think, during this process. I know
Yeah.
there was an existing lawn there, but based on,
I think the contours, I don't think there was any contour change per se, because it's up on like a drumlin, it just rolls right around.
and maybe,
But that was
yeah,
a good
maybe it's
picture.
not, maybe it's just that they cut all of the slope in this part itself. I'm not sure. But I would imagine you want something other than lawn to grow back there for
So
stabilization.
just run your mouse around where the trees used to be? No, on the tree, on the one with the trees.
On the one with the trees.
The
Oh,
left
over
one.
here?
Yeah,
So it looks like
yeah, so from there,
it was cut,
yeah,
Like
all
this?
the way across that driveway like that, right?
yeah.
It's pretty much from right about here, because the septic system and stuff is here, and this is an existing pine line. It was probably planted in '95 when the house was built,
Yeah.
so I think it was like from here.
You can see the house right here, and then it goes up this way
Yeah,
and over that way.
and that was all pine trees?
It was big, it appears, Dave Harrington, my arborist and myself went over it, and it appears that probably half a dozen pasture pines, big, pretty good-sized pines. If you look in those photos, you can see, as you look in the tree canopy back toward Raybeth Road, the opposite direction from Matt's picture there, you can see there's treetops still in the woods in there. I think they get hit pretty hard with that tropical snowmon all down Raybeth Road, you see
Yeah.
it. So we figured what we've been using in restoration is the giant green arborvitaes, like 20-foot tall ones, big mature ones. We get them from a commercial supplier who supplies municipalities. The good thing about those, they're really the only one that the deer won't browse.
And what was
Everything
what was
else.
the tree?
Arborvitaes,
Oh, thank
the
you.
giant emerald green arborvitaes, they'll only browse them in a real bad winter, which everything else we plant gets browsed off.
Yeah, it's a landscape plant. I would never approve that for a mitigation or restoration site.
That's why I didn't do it. I had to know what you guys like.
Yeah, I mean,
Everybody likes
if you're
different
talking
things.
about a filing for landscaping, I mean, you can totally get away with that, but it's not native to southeastern Mass as a species.
Yeah, I mean,
Never
I
mind
think
the
we'd be
cultivar,
looking
so.
for real trees there, right?
Yeah, I would say you want, basically what you want is the opposite of what's there. You want there to be a solid vegetated buffer for Smelt Brook. Unfortunately, there is a dirt road that goes very close to it, that goes out to the other house that's out
No, I
by
understand
the
that.
water,
I'm
but
saying on the
everything
slope
else.
and then to the right of the driveway, if you're going towards the pond,
Yeah.
we would want trees in there, correct?
Yeah, and at least in that sense, you have the existing road, but on either side of it, you have protection.
Yeah.
I can work with
Sure. yeah.
anybody who, submit your first stab at it. I would just say, native to southeastern Mass, no cultivars. You probably want some mixture of trees, shrubs, and some seed.
Okay.
You want to see some sort of a seed mixture to establish, and stabilize the site better than turf will.
I think you'd use a conservation mix, but I'll verify that.
Yeah, we have a conservation mix that's for southeastern Mass that they have at New England Wetland Plants. It's not on their website, but they have it.
Yeah.
So I can share that information.
That's great. That's great. Thank you.
Well, thank you for stabilizing the slope, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we need some trees and bushes and make them all native.
Yes, sir. Will do. I'll work with Matt on that and make sure I expect the right thing.
You want to set another date for something, or how do you want to do it?
What do you need, a couple weeks?
Yeah.
So next hearing?
Do you have room
Is that in 2
on
weeks?
that next meeting?
Yeah, we should be able to
Sure.
do it.
Do you want to, but if 2 weeks is too quick, because we like to have stuff a week before
Okay.
the
Oh,
meeting,
okay.
so let's say a month. Let's do the second meeting in May, which is,
Yeah, so let's make sure we have the planning plan by the next meeting,
Okay,
and then we can deal with it at the following meeting, please.
okay.
May 22nd.
May
So if you
26th.
can get stuff to me a week before May 22nd,
Okay,
sort of the final version, I guess, whenever you have something, send it over, I'll review it and give you some
Okay.
notes.
Okay, so we'll have
Yeah,
that.
let's get all the back and forth done before the meeting, so.
Sure. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent, will do. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate
Have a
it.
good night.
You too.
Right, the next up is 2 Braintree Avenue. Just please identify
that your
yourself
coat?
for the record.
Oh,
No,
I
that's
thought-
mine.
I thought you were leaving.
Yep,
Sorry.
no, I'm right here. For the record, Don McCauley. I'm a resident at 2 Braintree Avenue in Kingston.
Oh,
I'm just going to add that we've changed
oh,
timing,
we did.
so maybe we should start our public hearing and then move on to it. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry about that. We used to start
Oh, what did we
hearings
go
at
to?
7, now we're
Trying to start at
almost 10 minutes
4.
past.
Okay, so you want me to
So
wait?
you'll have a seat.
Okay.
We'll
Yeah.
start the public hearing, and I really apologize for the inconvenience to you. And the public hearing, thank you very much. Is 2 St. Francis Avenue. This is an NOI for the proposed construction of an addition to the existing house, the relocation of a shed, and associated site work within the buffer zone to wetland resource areas. Matt?
Continuance. We will see them on May 8th.
Excuse me, somebody's microphone needs to be turned.
Who's off?
Some
Back
more.
here.
Where do we have to restart? Did you hear any of that?
I just heard knocking.
I hear you knocking, right?
All right, start over again.
So I'm going to reopen a public hearing. This is to discuss the extension request for 20 Marion Drive.
No, 15
No.
St. Francis Road.
Oh, what was that? Hold on. Okay. All right, Matt. Got that's a continuance?
Yes.
All right. This is 15 St. Francis Avenue. This is a notice of intent for the proposed construction of an addition to the existing house, the relocation of a shed, and the associated site work within the buffer zone to a wetland resource area that will be continued to May 2/2.
Still read through, did you read through this part?
Yeah, just right
You
there.
did? Okay,
It's on the record.
cool.
All right, so that's continued, right?
Yes. May 8th.
May 8th. All right, for section B, this is 9 Jones River Drive. This is a notice of intent for the proposed construction of an addition to the existing home, a deck, and associated grading within the buffer zone to land subject to coastal storm
Wait,
flowage.
Did we continue the other one?
We did.
Did we take a vote?
Do you have a motion to continue that?
We got sloppy there when we had to go back and
We had
redo
to
it.
turn on our microphones.
All right, I'll make a motion to continue.
Second? All right. So motion, continue that to the, May 8th, did you say?
May 8th.
May 8th? And let's see, Dot?
Yes.
Right, St. Francis?
Yeah, 15 San Francis Ave.
Sorry to,
No, I'm above.
Yeah, we're continuing until May 8th.
we're gonna vote on
They're not
that.
And you're welcome to attend through Zoom if you want. If you don't want to come in person, they're on the agenda. There'll be a Zoom link if that works out better. Okay.
All right. So on the motion to continue, Dot? Yes. Jim?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Kalina's a yes. Buzz?
Yes?
Marilyn? Yes. And Brian?
Yes.
Okay, that's unanimous to continue that to May 8th. Sorry for the inconvenience. We will see you then.
It's interesting.
If you want to call our office the day of and ask if it's been, sometimes what happens is if we haven't got materials, we just talk to the people in advance and they'll ask for a continuance in advance, but we don't have time to put it on the agenda. So you can always come and watch us any night, but
I like hanging with you guys, you know, it's not better than you want on a Wednesday.
All right, we're gonna work on your hobbies.
All right, well, thank you very much. So we're going to move on to section B. This is 9 Jones River Drive. This is a notice of intent for the proposed construction of an addition to the existing home, a deck, and associated grading within the buffer zone to land subject to coastal storm flowage. I'm going to reopen this hearing for the proposed construction as described. Do you have a presentation from a representative?
yeah, we have, Jed Hannon is online.
Jed Hannon?
Good evening, commission members. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Do you want me to share my screen to show the updates?
Please.
Okay, we'll do. Okay, can everybody see that okay? Do you want me to zoom in?
Yes, please, zoom in.
Okay. Okay, so at the last hearing 2 weeks ago, we discussed this proposed project. As you mentioned, it's a proposed addition and deck along with some proposed site work, part of which includes mitigating stormwater runoff, as shown on the plans. We received some comments back to address, to include the no-touch 30-foot, 40-foot, and 50-foot. We had it set up offset relative to the BVW line. and the commission, the staff requires it to be from the most nearest resource area, which in this case is the FEMA AE floodline. So we adjusted that. Matt was out at the site, and as he noted in the last meeting, there really is not a buffer to the wetlands. It's kind of wide open. And so the commission voted to request a mitigation plan to provide a buffer along with conservation markers on posts. We put an example in here. Brad Holmes put this together. And so there's a pretty extensive mitigation plan here that goes from the BVW flags all the way to the 30-foot no-touch area. So it's pretty extensive. And the posts are denoted in the orange squares, if everybody can see that. Can everybody see those posts, those orange squares?
Yes.
Okay. And that's really it. You know, I know the homeowners would like to get started on this, subject to Kingston Conservation Commission's review. I think we've addressed the comments from the last hearing. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any comments, Matt?
Yeah, as far as mitigation, I think that works really well. You get 30 feet, so you can see, you know, we don't have an exact measurement of what was disturbed, you know, recently versus this, but just looking, I mean, it's the area along the bottom of the plan is the area, I believe, that was recently cleared, so it's significantly more than that. I think this provides exactly what you want to see, which is vegetated buffer on the wetland, which in this case is pretty much salt marsh right behind the BVW line. So I think given that what they're requesting is you know, in the outer extents of jurisdiction, and the mitigation now not only provides a buffer for the resource area, but maintains it in perpetuity with the conservation posts, then I would see no issue with issuing orders of conditions on this, just with the special conditions about the conservation posts being maintained in perpetuity.
Thank you. How about the commissioners? Any comments from the commission?
I'm happy with the plan.
Yeah, I'm still very concerned about the driveway. So, other than that, it looks great.
You want to,
No, it's gonna get changed, and I'd rather just see it on the plan now.
It's out of jurisdiction, right?
I know,
I
but
mean, not that,
I love getting everything on the plan.
I know
that,
you-
right? Just put it on there, what
plan's
you
a
gonna
plan,
do. Wrap it
but
up in a bow.
theoretically, they could change the layout of the driveway after the project is done without being in jurisdiction. Now, if they did it in a way that it increased runoff down their yard directly into the resource area, then we'd need to take enforcement action.
Again, I just like it in a nice, neat little package, and everything's on the plan, and then later on, when it's all done, we go, oh, that looks nice, and we sign off on it. But.
So if I could just comment on that, as I did in the last hearing, there is no plan change to the existing asphalt driveway that you can see. There is, as you can see in the brown hatch, there's a stone construction access area. The spirit of that is to, for access to the back of the yard, and so that mud can, you know, be taken off the tires at least substantially, maybe not perfectly, but definitely substantially. So there is no plan to change the driveway at all, and obviously we have to do an as-built once the construction's complete, and it should marry up with what's shown here on the plans.
Okay, said my piece.
Thank you.
thank you. Are there any comments from the public present? Or the public visiting online? Anybody?
Make a motion to close the hearing?
Okay, that was Jim who seconded this? Yeah. Thank you. All right.
Jim, you gotta get closer to that tin can you're talking into.
So on the motion to close the hearing, Dot?
Dot.
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Kalina's yes. Buzz?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve.
Brian?
Oh, Brian,
Yes.
Oh, Brian, all right,
Brian,
Brian.
I checked you off,
all right.
but I didn't.
I just, you know me, I like to move it
Thank you,
along.
Brian. Okay.
Go quick. You get run over.
And
Hey,
Buzz-
Brian.
Buzz?
Oh, good, Brian, good.
Yes, I did.
You voted.
Yes.
Oh, I thought he was making a motion. Okay, I'll make a motion to
She just
approve
kicked me on
the,
the vote, so
I'll make a motion
I think
to
it's passed.
approve the NOI with the agent's special conditions,
All
as
right.
noted.
All right, thank you. Dot?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Kalina? Yes. Buzz?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Brian, you get to say it
Yes.
twice? Okay. Motion passes. Thank you very much.
Have a good night.
Thank you, have a great evening.
Okay, what else? Where are we now? We on enforcement?
Back to 2 Braintree.
All right, moving back to enforcement. Thank you very much. Sorry for the inconvenience. 2 Braintree Avenue. Please identify yourself for the record.
Sure, Don McCauley, the resident at 2 Braintree Avenue in Kingston. And this is in regards to an enforcement action regarding the removal of 2 trees. Matt, do you have the existing conditions plan?
Oh, that's not the right one.
So as Matt's pulling that up, I'll give you a little bit of background. My wife and I contacted Grady Engineering and an architect to explore the idea of taking our house down, which sits 100% in the coastal buffer zone, and moving it back, or not moving it, but constructing a house outside the buffer zone. So in the spring of 2021, Grady came out and did an existing conditions plan of our property. And that's the far out one. If you go in a little bit further,
Oh, okay.
on the second slide, yeah, I zoomed in for you.
Ah, much better.
All right. So you can see the coastal bank buffer zone here. I think if you scroll up, Matt.
Are we looking at the one that says Macaulay presentation?
We're just going to get you a microphone so you
Okay.
can approach the board and.
Do you want me to? I can stand here. You can see the 100 the demarcation for
Yeah,
the
right
100
here
foot
is the
buffer zone.
100-foot buffer zone to the coastal bank.
Right.
And then the 100-foot buffer to the land separate to coastal storm flow, which is this blue line right here. So the 100-foot to that is out, I think, mostly in Braintree Ave. So again, the whole property is in jurisdiction as far as KWPR is concerned, but the buffer zone to the coastal bank and the buffer zone to the land subject to coastal storm flowage are different. You can see the buffer zone to land subject to coastal storm flowage here, near where the 2 streets meet.
So we had, you'll notice that the ash tree, oh, sorry, thank you, I appreciate it. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're on.
Okay, great. So the first tree that we're going to talk about is the ash tree right here, and that was removed by us in August of 2021. We have solar on our house, and the limbs were overhanging this portion of our house, which is actually our bedroom, and there's solar panels here. And we asked Mark Leclerc to come out and actually just trim the tree, not to take it down. But when he came out, he noticed that there was a bunch of dust at the bottom of the tree that I hadn't noticed. And he mentioned that something was eating the tree from within, and recommended that we take the entire tree down because it overhangs our bedroom. So you hit a storm, it's going to crash right onto the house. It's probably about maybe 15 feet from the house, but it was probably, I would say, and I'm not a math guy, but probably like a 60-foot tree. So he suggested that we call the Conservation Committee, or Conservation, not committee, but the department, to ask about removing the tree. And when we called, my wife called, I explained to her to say that it was within, or outside, I'm sorry, of the 100-foot buffer coastal bank zone. And I don't know who she spoke to. I think she might have spoken to you, Matt. But there's probably a reason that you don't have a record of it, because she told you that it was outside the buffer zone, not recognizing that there's a whole nother buffer zone here that it sits within. So the recommendation that we got over the phone was, if it's outside the buffer zone, and we're thinking the coastal bank buffer zone, then it's okay to take it down, which made sense to us because the architect was talking about taking the house, which sits within the buffer zone, taking that down, and being able to construct something outside of that buffer zone. So if there's an opportunity for me to ask for forgiveness rather than come in and ask for permission, I apologize if I got the buffer zones wrong. But the tree came down in August of 2021, and we could stop there and I can answer any questions about that tree coming down on the property.
Do you have any questions, commissioners? No. Go on.
Okay. So the second tree that came down on the property is this one right here, which is right up on the side of the road by Braintree Avenue. And honestly, we didn't take this tree down. The town of Kingston Highway Department took this tree down. We were awoken sometime in the spring of 2022 to a knock on the door with Mark LeClaire and a representative of the Highway Department. Apparently, the tree had overgrown the street and was hitting the bus as it was coming by. And they asked if we had any opinion as to whether we can, trim the tree or take it down. And I, recognizing that at some point we're bringing the house out on the property, I said, you can just take it down if you want to take it down. It's fine with me if you want to get rid of it. And they took it down that day and chipped it. And I have no record of it. There's an invoice from Mark LeClaire for the first tree that he took down in August. But with respect to the second tree, I have no paperwork for this, but I would imagine that the town of Kingston Highway Department does.
You would expect that.
You would think.
I mean,
I only talked to them once. I haven't followed up again, but I asked, if he had any recollection of that, and he said no. But that, again, it's been years, and he's got a lot going on. So, and I don't know. We're talking a tree right along the street that's in the outer reaches of the 100-foot land subject to coastal storm flowage.
And frankly, I thought it
Not
was
the
an
biggest
easement that the town had. So when they were talking about taking the tree down, I was like, I think it might even be your tree. So
Right.
if you want to take it down, by all means.
So now,
In terms of remediation, hopefully we'll have a plan coming to you guys in the next year or two with respect to a house that's going to be placed back outside the buffer zone, and we can identify where you'd want us to put a tree or trees that are native to southeastern Massachusetts. But also, if we want, Matt, we have a request for other plantings on the property that would be native if you want to put them in there as well.
Yeah, so they plan on coming forward with some sort of a filing, whether it's admin review or RDA, to put some, it's a cultivars of a native holly in between their property and 11 Wharf, like along the property line. I just said that's for another day. That's not, that's landscaping. That's something that you would just get permitted separately. But as far as mitigation, I don't know.
Well, based on the comments that they plan on moving the house back, I don't think it makes any sense to plant anything permanent in the front yard.
No, and honestly, I think if you want mitigation where it matters more, which is along the coastal bank to stabilize the coastal bank.
And according to our current plan, there's an asphalt driveway that's there, which will be taken out, and the house wouldn't cover there, so you'd be able to put trees there as well.
When we're talking about moving a house on this property, you probably are talking about some substantial mitigation anyways, based on recent filings. So, I don't know. I have no recommendation on this. I just pitched everything to the commission last meeting or the meeting before.
Which neighbor was getting flooded?
That's
this
me.
neighbor.
Yeah. I'm the abutter to 11 Wharf Lane.
So the 11 water was coming on your property?
Right.
And then during my review, that's when I sort of said to both properties that the aerial imagery review indicated that substantial tree removal on both properties has happened, and that mature trees soak up a whole bunch of water. So now there's really no mitigation for that. You can try to plant something in its place, but you probably got a long time before it functions the same.
Yeah, and so, and again, I take you at your word that
Mhm.
at some point in the future, you're gonna do something there. But what do we do in the interim?
Right.
I'll defer to the commission, whatever you guys want me to do.
I mean,
What is the red line that says proposed placement of new plantings with the little?
That was the landscaping that Matt was talking about. So on the third slide, Matt?
So this is something you're currently proposing, or this would be future proposal?
This is something that we would, be happy to do right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's called Ilex densa, is that what it is?
it's a cultivar of Ilex glaber. So native species, but cultivar, not
Not a tree.
not mitigation, it's landscaping. If they want to change it up a little bit and go straight species and have some things that can actually do something, then I would say that would be mitigation.
Like,
All right,
what-
so,
like-
wait, time out.
Yeah.
So, for my small brain, expand that a little bit, because I don't know what you just said.
I mean, you want straight species always, you don't want cultivars, for if you're talking about actual, restoration ecology. And I would say you want something that's going to soak up as much water as possible. So in that sense, I mean, you have limitations there because you have structures on both sides of it, but ideally you get things that grow relatively fast that soak up water as fast as they can.
Such as?
What would that be, right?
I only review the plans, I don't make them.
I'm just asking a question. I'm not saying you know the answer, I'm just asking.
I would say some form of large shrubs or small trees could do the trick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Instead of this.
Yeah. I think if you're talking about what, they had proposed, I would say that's landscaping, that should be done as a separate filing. If you're saying, well, we need to mitigate this now, because we're not gonna wait until they file later, then you'd wanna see native species, and you would not necessarily want them to be part of a landscape where somebody can then mow under them and prune them, and
Right.
you'd want them to be, you basically would want like a buffer strip there, but there's not much room for one
And
there.
yeah, there's not much room right now to do that. But that doesn't say that we wouldn't do that. If you wanted
No,
to
I-
put like a red maple
no.
in there or something like that, that would,
Yeah,
would that
so-
soak up the water?
I guess my question is, if we were to explore that, would that in any way inhibit you from doing your future expansion, or would those be disturbed in any way?
No, I think, future expansion is gonna be completely outside that buffer zone. We were just, we were asking because, there's an opportunity to put some kind of shrubbery. And I don't know if it was landscaping. It was on the Kingston website where we pulled it up. It was indicated as a native species that you guys would accept. And we were thinking, okay, this is something that's small, that we can throw along the property line that hopefully might drink up some water, but if it's not gonna really do that,
There are a lot of resources that Matt can tell you about that will help you choose your plants.
Yeah, no, and we went through you have a pretty exhaustive list. We've already contacted Sylvan, the nursery.
Right.
They had that stuff in stock. That's why we were, sort of, trying to move on it fast for you guys.
Yeah.
But, like I said, the trees were outside the buffer zone. If you want to put something back outside that coastal bank buffer zone, we'd be in favor of that too. It'd just be a matter of, it would probably be somewhere in the middle of the driveway, the existing, asphalt driveway, because looking at the footprint plan of the proposed dwelling that we hope to build,
Yeah.
which will be coming before you guys, don't worry, we will definitely come to you guys for permission first. It would probably fall somewhere in this area. That's where we would have a place to put trees.
Yeah, but if you go back up to the map, please, where it says I think it says 6612, no, down a little, Matt. Yeah, along the property line there, follow that property line, no, follow that property line where your mouse is.
This way?
Yeah, and on the other side of the shed, yeah, right in there, like, can't we do something there, not in the shed, but towards the water? Can't we do something along here now?
Absolutely. There's definitely space right here that, and that's what that proposed red line was on the proposed plantings. It went from here all the way down to here. But yeah, you could definitely put some, there's a rather large tree right now, somewhere in here, but, and you can't see it on the map for some reason, but there's definitely space within here that you could definitely put a tree or two.
Is this all lawn, like mowed area?
It is, yeah, I have a mower that goes in there. So it's grass right now.
That's one way to get mitigation, is get some of that buffer to coastal bank back and get some deep-rooted native species there to hold the bank in place.
Stop
Just-
mowing that area
it
and
doesn't-
plant it.
What's that?
Stop mowing that area and plant it with natives.
I don't think that's realistic. I mean, he's coming back with a plan later, we can deal with all that then. I'm thinking you put 2 trees over there, substantial size, and we'll deal with the rest later. He lost 2 trees, let's put 2 trees back. One is by his own doing and one was by the town, so. And it sounds like that tree was diseased, the one that was hanging over his house, so.
The ash, yeah.
You just need to find something that's gonna grow, you know, with direct salt exposure from the ocean.
That's the other thing, we get a ton of wind. Every arborist and also the nurseries that we spoke to said, you're right on the water, you get wind and salt, and that's why they recommended that Ilex densa. But if you've got a recommendation, Matt, in terms of a good tree that's gonna soak up water, because that does get wet down there.
Wouldn't
That's-
red cedar grow with a little salt around it?
Yeah.
That's another one.
Are those abreviate?
There may be a couple there
Thuga
already, it
Kings,
looks like.
Are those the Thuga King abreviates? Are those aren't
No,
native?
not native.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, eastern red cedar, there's a lot of them along
Yeah.
this coastal bank in
I
Kingston.
think this bush right
They
there
probably are right
is a
here.
cedar. It's more of a bush, though.
I would say, it's always good to have buffer to the coastal bank, but like Buzz said, you're probably gonna end up doing that down the road anyways. And that's not necessarily gonna deal with any of the water coming from higher up on the property. Problem is, in the meantime, you have nothing preventing any of the water from running from both properties' lawns directly into the bay, probably carrying pesticides, fertilizers, things like that.
But if it was an
Well, I mean, we can
actual
pick
bit-
all that up when we do gutter drains and stuff on the rebuild.
And in the rebuild, we hope to have a rain harvesting system too, so
Yeah,
That
I'm
would be
assuming you're gonna raise the house up a little bit too, the new one?
we have to, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But you're projecting that out 2 years?
At least, yeah.
yeah. So I'm saying, let's get a couple good trees, shrubs, whatever needs to be there, and let's wrap that one up. That's my opinion.
As Dot suggested, if you let the lawn naturalize, it will help water flowage.
I
At least
can't-
slow it.
Megan, I
towards the-
can't hear you.
When you say naturalized, you mean just like turn to dirt?
Not, stop mowing,
Stop mowing?
Yeah.
Okay.
and that, I would think, would help the water not flow directly into the ocean from the lawn, but not a long-term solution.
It's,
Are we-
even though it's regular, it's like regular bluegrass? Like not, it's not like seagrass, it's like, if I let it, I mean, I'm happy to do whatever you guys
But
recommend, but
if
I
you-
don't
if
know
you-
how high it's gonna get to stop water runoff.
If you stop mowing, it will naturalize with other plants.
Okay,
Or you could put some in.
put some in as well,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, you can speed the process by
Right.
overseeding or planting plugs or
Yeah.
planting bigger,
Yeah, it just plugs right in the middle of the
things.
lawn.
Yeah.
Leave the grass, and hopefully it'll be overtaken by what you put in.
Plugs like of seagrass, or?
Just of
Again,
any
you-
salt tolerant native
Yeah, I'm not,
species.
Yeah, I'm not in favor of that. I don't know how we went from 2 trees to that.
well, it's just, when we're talking
You
about
said
it,
2
so,
trees.
just something to
Well,
think
there's
about.
2 trees, so
Yeah.
I'm not in favor of that. That's too draconian for me.
Nice word.
And
Okay.
what's the
Brian, I don't wanna
recommendation
leave you out again, so you don't
No,
have
I'm
any.
enjoying all witty banter.
then? So what's the recommendation from the
Wait, may
commission?
I just ask real quick, where's the flooding in the front of the backyards? The
It's,
majority of the flooding?
Yeah, so the flooding now, if you.
I'm sorry, if you go up there, you have to take the portable
Sorry.
mic.
Sorry
Sorry,
about that.
I
Yep.
should have said that earlier.
So the flooding now is, it's coming off the front yard. It's coming, off this side of the driveway, catching the driveway, catching this walkway all the way down here, going underneath this deck, filling up, and washing out all the way down here into the water.
Okay.
It's
that's
pretty dramatic.
Yeah, I don't love the idea of punting this for 2, 3,
Right.
4 years from now with just saying 2 or 3 trees. I'd like to see something more robust, and I think you'll need something more robust to deal with all that flooding. So I'm
Yeah.
leaning more to the plug idea.
But where the water's coming from.
The water's
Yeah.
coming up by
It's
the
not-
driveway.
Right.
But if we can move it so that there's a
about-
room right next to the walkway where the cursor, your mouse is right now, to put something in there.
Or at least, well, those are what,
Well, you said you're pulling out the driveway when you do the house, right?
Yeah.
All right, why don't you pull the driveway now and make it pervious, put some stone there, and that'll take care of the whole mess.
But it's not coming off your driveway, is it?
No,
The neighbor.
it's coming off of the abutting property.
Yeah, but that's not a bad idea.
Maybe 3 trees between the walkway here, there's all this grass area here in and around the shed, and in between the 2 properties here. I don't know exactly where the property line is, it looked like there was maybe 10 feet on the plan.
Well, he has the
that they pulled.
as-built with the shed, you can see on.
Right, it looked like there was, what, 10 feet or something, right? So if you got, you know, a tree over here, 1 or 2 trees here, you know,
Where is your driveway? On that,
My driveway
Yeah.
is right here.
That yellow line is not quite correct, Dot.
yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay.
shifted.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's over, see where the row of bushes is? That's where the yellow line belongs in
Above the
that
numbers,
drawing.
123.
oh, I see.
Yeah.
Top of those numbers.
Yeah.
This is supposed to represent the property
So we
line.
got all that
should
grass
be
space
this.
that Matt was
Thank
just
you.
pointing
Yeah,
to.
Okay.
yeah, the yellow line needs to go up 10 feet.
Yeah.
ish.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
I think I could suggest 3 trees that would be sufficient for that area. I would just suggest that doing that and allowing mowing right up to the trees is gonna limit the benefit of the trees, and it's gonna make it more likely that they're unhealthy and that they, you know, somebody goes and takes a line trimmer around them and then
Yep.
girdles the tree. I mean, I think there's benefit not only for the trees themselves, but in the absorption of water and having there be sort of like a small strip around the trees that is not landscaped,
Like
you know,
6
and
feet,
maintained.
6 feet diameter around the tree?
Something like that, and maybe if you have, let's say you have 2 trees here, right? You know, one to the side of the shed and one over here, maybe you have a strip in between them, and that might help the flow of water going past it, at least during small storms.
A strip of what?
Natural area.
I mean, because and this isn't your problem, it's my problem. This is currently all lawn. We have an auto mower that, that runs, a robotic mower that runs around the entire property. I'd have to figure out how to map it through trees, but if you wanted to go over here, there's nothing. There's no grass, there's nothing behind the shed. I'm happy to put trees right here and here, which is where the natural flow of the water should go. If it were coming down before the other property was changed, the water would come down this way and you'd get water settling down back here. So I'm happy to put in a tree here where you have no grass, right, between the property line. I'm happy to put in 3 trees down here if you want and stop mowing down here so this all becomes natural.
That's a good middle ground, I think.
Yeah, I like that.
That makes good sense.
Brian?
Yep.
Okay.
You want to do something similar to what we did a few minutes ago and just have them kick a plan to me and we'll revisit it in a month?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Why don't you do that?
Yep, so with the recommendation, just to be a little clearer on that, we're asking you to provide that landscaping plan with the species ahead of time, send it to Matt, work out with him, make sure he's happy with the species, and then we'll have you come back in a month, and then by then it'll be worked out, and we'll get it going.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you guys. Apologies for the first tree coming down.
Yeah, no worries.
Yep.
Thank you for bringing this as-built, that was very helpful.
Yeah.
All right. Is that it for,
That
it's
is
on the
it. Now we're
calendar?
on to 11 Wharf Lane, which is right here.
So that one's laid level what in the drive?
Mary Hill, 11 Work Lane.
Hi.
I'm actually out of my element here because I'm not even really sure, we were never served with a notice of violation, so I'm kind of not sure what it is I'm supposed to be addressing.
All right, Matt, you want to let her know?
Yeah, did we not send you a notice of violation?
No.
I didn't let you know by email?
You told me you were going on vacation, and you didn't have a chance to get a notice of violation together,
You're right.
so I'm
I
kind of...
never sent an official notice of
I'm
violation. I
kind of
let
in
them
the
know to
dark
come to
there.
the meeting, but, because after the last meeting, you guys wanted them to be here, but I didn't actually send an official notice of violation out.
Well, you're way better than I would, sat through this whole meeting without
You are
a
wonderful. We are
notice to
so
be here.
sorry about that.
Just, but you were at the previous meeting?
Yes.
where-
Yes, yes.
Okay, so,
So it was
It's
kind of,
not
it was
totally,
an informal discussion, but I never
Right.
really knew what it was that
Right.
we were talking about, as far as what we were in violation of.
do you want to wait and I'll send you a notice of violation?
I
or
would
you-
prefer
I think
that.
that would be better.
I would
That
prefer that.
is-
So you
Thank
know what you're
Yeah, I
here
agree,
for.
100%.
Thank
Now,
you.
you've been,
Yeah.
like, that will be your third time here.
All right,
Yep.
So we thank
is
you
2
very
weeks
much
enough,
for
or you
your...
want them to come back in a month with the other applicant?
I'd have to come back in a month. I'm having surgery on Monday, and I'll be out of commission for a couple weeks.
Okay.
In fairness, notice of violation are not particularly super detailed.
I understand.
Still, it's good to have one.
Just saying, I know I didn't
But
send it.
there was just a lot of discussion around in the
Right.
last meeting, and there were a couple things that were being put into play, and I
Yep.
wasn't
No,
really
understood,
sure.
and I definitely
weren't
want you to have
clear.
the paperwork ahead of time.
Right.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thank you for coming in.
We'll
and
see you in a
see
month, and I wish you
So-
the best in your
So
surgery.
what's the date for a month?
May 22nd.
May 22nd. See you then. And what time should they come at?
6:30.
6:30.
We'll be here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck
Good
with your
luck.
surgery.
So sorry.
We get meeting minutes.
Meeting minutes, March 13th, 2024.
Has everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes?
Yes.
All right. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes for
I'll
March
make a
13th?
motion to approve the minutes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Dot?
I think Megan seconded, right?
I did
No,
second.
Yep,
she's
Megan
asking for the
seconded.
vote. Dot, you're up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Your voice is very soft, and I'm slightly deaf, and sometimes I don't hear you.
And this isn't actually, I keep thinking it's a microphone, and it's not.
Yes, yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Colleen is a yes. Buzz?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Brian?
I'll abstain.
Okay. All right, that's unanimous with one abstention to approve the meetings from March 13th, 2024. Great. We have update? Any updates?
Administrative approval, I issued an administrative approval for minor change to the orders of conditions issued for 25 Rocky Nook Avenue. This was for conversion from pavement, lawn, and seashell driveway to pervious pavers. I think I attached the highlighted area on the plan subset for review. If anybody has questions or concerns, you know where to reach me.
Any comments from the commission? Okay. Brings us to the end of the meeting. The next meeting will be May 8th, 2024, starting at 6:30. The time is now 7:34. Is it 7:34? Excellent. Do we hear a motion to adjourn?
Make that motion.
Second? Dot?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes. That one.
Megan?
Yes.
Kalina's, yes. Buzz?
Yes.
Marilyn?
Do you want this? Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Okay. All right, motion is unanimously approved. We'll see you next time.